haven't tested these, so
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
I know. I have I guess I've definitely made an Applejack at some time in the past, or an apple Jack Rose.
Jack Rose, yes. Oh, that's why it's called Jack Rose, because of the Applejack.
Yes, that's it right there.
Got it. Was a little slow on that one.
Yeah, so it's like one of the only cocktails that's like, I don't know, like you get the double of like one of the few classic cocktails that it's a must for grenadine. That's also kind of like a simple, not 1,000 ingredient situation, and it's also one of the only ones that's like a classic Applejack cocktail. So it's always it gets thrown into a lot of recipe books. We're like, we need to have something that's made with Applejack. Or this. This is it.
There you go. That's it. Well, hello. I realize that we're already live.
We are live now in mid-conversation. Yeah.
We're just in mid-conversation.
Hi.
Hello. And
sometimes it takes a minute.
Hey, Taylor.
Hello.
You look awesome. You really dressed up. You look cool.
I had enough time. I was running behind today, so I had enough time to put on the outfit that I wanted to put on, but not like my hair is running hair, and it was just like I went for like a 5-mile run and then just went ugh.
No, you look great.
So it's feel like we've got roots. There's mullet. This is like full on like this is a quarantine do. So I'm just embracing it.
I feel you there. I my hair is in the awkward stage because I can't cut it, and it's also like not really long enough to do anything. So I've just been putting it in like the pebbles bun on top of my head, and I look like a toddler everywhere I go. So I just took that out. But this is my dress up. I have Hollywood
those
glasses.
Are great. I love those.
Thanks. They're sunglasses. I should probably take them off at some point, but they're fun. Like can't see my eyes.
They're not too dark.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was chatting over Instagram with the girl that one of my buddies does my hair for me, and she's I think I talked her into giving me trusting me with like a FaceTime hairdo situation to walk me through. Not cutting because that's not possible, but I think the roots. We'll see. I don't know if I think she's down. No, anyway, we're not talking about hair. We're talking about Bogart and booze.
Booze and Bogart.
Yeah. Classic combination, I guess. Better or worse, classic combination.
Yes.
I saw a couple people were a little questioning as to if Bogart is somebody that you really look up to, just based on the information we shared about him.
Listen, I don't think we said that.
No. Disclaimer, like a lot of these episodes that we're going to do about famous drinkers, I think if you drink so much that becomes like a thing you're historically documented as doing, and we're not necessarily holding these people up as role models.
No.
We're just telling you about them.
No. What I think we said Bogart was an okay guy and definitely an alcoholic. Those are just the facts.
Yes.
I think he like a bad person, but
like less disappointing than I would have thought, just going in kind of blind.
Yes. Yes.
But anyway,
definitely. You know what? Hey.
So but if you express concerns over that, you're not wrong.
No, absolutely not. Like I'm not defending Bogart.
Mm-mm. I don't think anyone should drink quite that much scotch.
No.
Save it for the special times, not 9 a.m.
Yeah.
But we are going to drink a little bit of scotch tonight.
Just a little bit.
So obviously, if you listen to the episode, all about the life of Bogart, his drinking habits, he drank a lot of very simple things. So a lot of the things that we kind of talked about before. I mean, he was either drinking straight scotch or scotch and soda, scotch and water, medallions with martinis. But I don't think it'd be a very interesting episode if we just drank straight scotch and like, I don't know. Scotch and soda. I feel like you all can figure out scotch and soda.
Yeah, and it's always to like your taste, like how much water or how much soda you want to add is according to you. We can't tell you that. So
Yeah. So we picked some we picked cocktails sort of from his early drinking days. They're a bit more the epitome of like the speakeasy kind of drinking for one of them, and then one a Scotch cocktail. So we're going to be making a Jack Rose, which is a combination of applejack, lemon, and grenadine. And then we're also going to make a Rob Roy, which is a Scotch Manhattan. So yeah, that's what we'll be drinking tonight.
Nice.
I don't think we parsed out who was going to do what. What are you feeling?
Well, I don't know. I guess we could just both do it together.
Oh, that's right.
We both got all the stuff.
Yeah.
But we should probably start with the Jack Rose because it's what he was drinking in his hooligan. Actually, you know what? He was a hooligan his whole life.
Yeah. But yes, chronologically.
In his younger rants, rumpabouts, Manhattan, during Prohibition, he was drinking Jack Rose. So let's do revelry. What is
he was painting the town red.
Rebel rousing.
Is that what it is? I don't know. It sounded like that was like a Scooby-Doo sound.
Rebel rousing. Ruh-roh. Yeah, no. Okay, hello.
All right, so Jack Rose. It's a sour build. It's very simple, like 2 3/4 2 parts applejack, 3/4 lemon, 3/4 grenadine. Simple. This is a great chance. This is a great cocktail to show off a homemade grenadine. We've talked about how to make grenadine in a couple episodes. I think we've used it, and I've dropped a recipe for it. But Liz, you made some.
I made some by myself for the first time.
I'm so impressed. Thank
you.
It's one of those things.
It was very easy to do once I got the things.
Well, why don't you walk through what you did? Because I want to know, because some people make it really complicated. It really doesn't have to be that complicated.
Yeah, well, I mean, this actually kind of came out of necessity because I was looking for the fake stuff. I was just trying to take the easy route and get the fake grenadine syrup from the supermarket, but I couldn't find any. So I got the palm juice. Oh, I wish it's in my fridge. I'm not going to get up, but the little pomegranate juice from the supermarket. They had those. They have like a mix of like bougie stuff and not bougie stuff. They got the pomegranate juice. So I did half a cup of pomegranate juice, half a cup of sugar, and you really just like heat it up on the stove until it's just barely boiling, and then you turn it off. And then I added a tiny bit of lemon juice, fresh squeezed, and then just like a couple drops of the orange flower water. I wasn't going to do that because I thought that I didn't have it, but it just so happens that I live with a bartender. So she had the orange flower water. I was able to add that. But I think, for our purposes, I probably would have been okay if I hadn't been able to add it. It is nice. Yeah. I think we've made it before. Did you have orange flower water that time, or did we use jasmine water? Or
no, I have orange flower water. I always make mine with that. I've seen it made with rose rose water as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is, to me, the key to homemade grenadine, because some people will use pomegranate molasses, pomegranate juice as well. The lemon juice I think is easy, and it's also crucial. But the simple one that I make at home is usually just like pomegranate juice, sugar, some lemon juice, and a little bit of orange blossom water. And that's it. I like to boil it down so it's a little bit more viscous than normal, than like what I usually keep my syrups. But that's really all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that. You're just doing like a simple syrup, but instead of water, you're using your pomegranate juice, and then you're adding some, a little bit of lemon juice, a little bit of rose water. So it really does like make a completely different product than the stuff you buy at the store. And I do think it's the orange blossom or the rose water that makes the big difference. So
yeah, for sure. This smells good. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of those drinks where, like, a lot of times when you're making tiki drinks and grenadine's in there, but it's in there with like 5 other ingredients, 4 of which are sweet. at that point I'm like, hey, your grenadine's gonna, it's not gonna sing. It's not gonna make a statement. It's just gonna be in the background. So who cares how much work you put into it? But the Jack Rose is cool because it's gonna highlight good grenadine.
Yeah, there's really only 3 ingredients. So if you got it, use it. If you don't, it's probably fine.
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah, if you got the store-bought stuff, what did you do for this?
So I kind of met in the middle. I was running late on all this, and I had to go to the store to get some of the stuff on the alcohol end. I had to get scotch, and I didn't need anything from the grocery store. I've been trying to limit like just making people interact with me. So I needed pomegranate juice. Like I had orange blossom water, I had sugar, I had everything I needed, but I needed pomegranate juice. I'm like, am I gonna go to the store just for pomegranate juice? That feels wrong right now. But the liquor store I go to had kind of a fancy grenadine that was like an artisanal one. I tried it and I didn't think it had a very good presence of orange blossom water, so I added some. So it's it's like
nice.
Cherry and pomegranate juice with cane sugar. It's a simple, and citric acid, but it's a simple grenadine that I bought, and then I added some. So I don't,
that's a nice compromise.
I haven't actually made any drinks with it yet, and it does have. I mean, the color it's that toxic red. So who knows?
I love that color, toxic red.
Is that the bugs? Is that the one that's made of bugs?
It might be.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. That's. I mean, there might be carmine in there. Cochineal.
Yes, that's it.
Insects. That's what those are. But yeah, I mean, I personally, I grew up on like Shirley Temple's made with the fake grenadine. I love that stuff. So
I mean, it's just, I don't think it's bad. It's just very,
it's different.
Very different. Yeah.
It's different from what real grenadine is, but.
Well, and I will say, like, in this drink, I mean, it's kind of, if you had simple syrup instead of grenadine, you'd still have a good drink. You'd still have just a basic, like, I guess an Applejack sour, but sort of, right?
Yeah.
So that's still gonna work. That's still gonna be tasty. So anything that even if you're using store-bought grenadine or not the fanciest grenadine, it still has the building blocks of a good cocktail.
For sure.
All right.
Anyway, enough chit chat. Let's make this drink. Okay. Oh, and we also, the third ingredient is lemon. Yes. Did we say that? I don't know.
I think I said it. Who knows? But yeah. So
you think you did. I think you did. I was just worried.
I
couldn't remember.
I think I said it, but so I'm using Laird's Applejack, which we've done an episode on. This is the classic stuff. Liz, you got something weird over there.
Yeah. Oh, and I was gonna say one more thing about the grenadine too, is that like, because I've gone with you to your liquor store, I knew that like some liquor stores have grenadine. Every liquor store that I went to today was like, no, we don't have that because we only have alcohol things. That's a supermarket item. And that was like, oh, okay, that's strange. I've never encountered that before, but that was just the weird thing that I ran into. And then also like no regular Applejack. I got some apple brandy, and this is actually apple pear brandy, but I think it's going to be tasty anyway. It might be a little bit different from the Laird's, what the Laird's is going to do in the cocktail, but
I mean, it's a wild world brandy, because brandy can be very sweet, brandy can be very fruity. If you've got Applejack or a lot of apple brandy, it's very dry. So to that, I'd say, Applejack can be a bit of a hard ingredient to find. I kind of have the one place in my hood that I can find this, and none of the other stores have it. So this was a bit of a search.
I remember when we were looking for it for the episode, it was hard to find.
It is. It can be a little hard to find. I feel like, to me, it's like a thing that every bar has to have. Like if I was telling someone how to stock a bar properly, this would be on my list. But that's a lot of liquor stores, I guess, don't think that way. And so, you'll get fruit brandies and even apple brandies, but a lot of times there's a lot more added sugar than what goes on here. Which doesn't mean you can't use it. It's just like in this case, maybe use a little less grenadine, maybe, you kind of pull back on some of the acid, So I think yours is going to add some sugar to it, but I will say you've got that nice natural like homemade grenadine that's probably not going to be as sweet as mine, so it might balance out really nicely.
Let's see what happens.
All right. Oh, I'm starting with my booze. I'm breaking the law. All right.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna do 3/4 ounce of lemon. 3/4 ounce of my Frankenstein's grenadine. And then 2 ounces of Applejack. I've seen people add an egg white to this drink before, and it's definitely something that's
really,
this drink is very conducive to being made into like a classic sort of flip that way. Or no, flip has a whole egg, but like a whiskey sour.
Ah. Shaken. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Are you stuck?
I'm stuck.
Oh no, muscles.
Oh, I got it.
This drink is usually served up, but I have one appropriately sized up glass right now that I want to save for my Rob Roy. So I'm going to use this weird little square glass that I have.
It's cute. I'm going to use this wine glass because that's what I got.
It's a pretty color.
It is. It's gorgeous.
You could do like a wheel or a twist on this. I'm going to do a twist.
I used all my lemon and I accidentally threw it away.
Well, just garnish it with a smile then. There it is. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's great.
Oh yeah. Mine's pretty. Mine is on the sweet side, but it's not too sweet. The lemon definitely helps a lot. Cut that with the acidity. But this is a little bit on the sweeter side.
I gotta say, this one's really, it's really nicely balanced. It doesn't play too sweet. I like that I went with the twist because that lemon oil right on the top is really also
I bet
kind of breaking it up. And I don't know that I'm getting like the nice floral qualities that I would want from the grenadine, and the sweet is just being sweet. So
yeah,
I could see how like a more pronounced, tangy, slightly sour pomegranate note would really brighten this up. The one that I bought, I don't think it's cherry and pomegranate, but I'm gonna say it's heavy on the cherry. But I still would. I like this even with the like not my favorite kind of grenadine. So I bet it would be even more amazing with really good grenadine.
Yeah. Oh, and I was going to ask you because a lot of recipes that I found that I think were kind of just throwing it back to what they did during the Prohibition when this cocktail was really popular said lemon or lime. So you could use lime juice for this cocktail. Is that what are your thoughts on that?
Lemon versus lime.
For this cocktail,
I don't think it's not going to make that big a difference. I mean, let's be real. In any cocktail, if you have lemon instead of lime or lime instead of lemon, it's not going to make a world of difference. And even when I try to, because I've tried to have this conversation with other bartenders before, like, how would you describe the difference between lemon and lime juice? And I mean, usually you get these kind of like, well, I think like lemon is a little like brighter, but lime juice is a little bit more of an acid, and like they're definitely different tastes, but they their big job is providing the balance of acidity, and they do that job very similarly. So I don't think there's any problem with using lime instead of lemon or lemon instead of lime. I remember we talked a bit about it on one of the podcasts, but the great lime shortage of, what was it, like 2015, I think it was?
Yes.
We couldn't get limes in like all of New York. And I think America in general had a lime shortage. So
I remember that.
We really learned at the bar I was working at, we did a test between buying bottled juice versus just using lemon instead of lime juice in cocktails. And we found across the board, cocktails had their integrity better with fresh lemon juice instead of like bottled lime juice. So it was better with it's more about the freshness and the acid not breaking down, because acid, starts to diminish. You lose the acidity over time as juice sits. So I think fresh juice is the key. I think, I would take fresh of either one, even if it's not exactly what goes in the drink, as opposed to bottle.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that info.
Yeah. It gets harder with other acidic things. Like you can't really do a 1-to-1 with grapefruit. Yuzu's kind of hard, but definitely lemon and lime. You can. I'm not going to go as far as to say use them interchangeably, because I feel like a bunch of bartenders will storm into my apartment and take my license away.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to make a bigger difference in like a margarita. I think you've said that before, that like a margarita with lemon isn't bad. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, you're just not going to get, I mean, to me, I don't know. Like even and I've done these head-to-head tastes, and I always just feel like there's something tangier about lime juice. There's something drier about lemon juice, but that doesn't like that. I don't know how else to describe the difference other than that.
But just different fruits.
Different fruits, yeah. Before we move on to the next drink, there are a couple questions about this cocktail particularly that I'm gonna just try to answer real fast.
Yes.
Someone, let's see, what do we got?
I'll just be over here looking mysterious.
Yes, you put your,
I'm cool as a cucumber, baby.
I'm glad to see some of you are actually making the Jack Rose at home. Please tell us in the chat how you like it.
Yeah.
If you can't get Applejack, could you use apple whiskey, vodka, etc.? I mean, honestly, this is that same sour build of 2 3/4 3/4, where that lemon as your sour, that or as your acid, grenadine as your sweet, that'll pair well with most spirits. Honestly, you could sub in any base spirit, because the thing about Applejack is, I think when people hear the apple, they think it's going to be like a sweet fruit liqueur. If you've ever tried this, it's very similar. I don't want to say it's similar to whiskey, but it's closer to whiskey than anything else, and it's definitely closer to like a whiskey than like a fruit liqueur. There's not a lot of like sugar here. There's not a lot of sweet. There's a lot of heat because of the alcohol. It's very bright, or more like rye maybe. Yeah. So you could sub in rye. You could sub in bourbon. If you did it with vodka, it's gonna be fine. I mean, it's a very open formula for cocktails. Would I call any of those things a Jack Rose? No. But would they probably taste tasty? Yes, I bet they would. I bet they'd be yummy. So. Yeah.
Indeed.
Drew asked a good question about what you consider essential for your home bar. I would actually love to do a whole additional live stream about that, because we've gotten that question, I think, on the Patreon before. And that's a big list off the top of my head. I feel like you just want representation from most base spirits, and then there's a lot of kind of classic modifiers, but I'm not going to answer that full question on the fly, and just instead say that put a pin in it. We'll give you a whole like video soon on what should actually be like a classic bar setup, because I think that's a great idea, but I want to give you all like a good comprehensive like list of what I think you need to like have like a home bar.
Nice.
I'm also figuring that
that'll
out
be
myself.
really good for me. Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be really good for me because I'm just now building my home bar. I've never really had a collection of spirits before, but slowly but surely, including Luxardo, which is I have actually one of the recipes I found for the Rob Roy said to use maraschino liqueur, which I was like, I don't know about that. It's the only one that I found. All the other ones say or didn't say that, but so I have this with me because any chance to use it, I'm just like, I have this giant bottle and you only use a little bit every time. This is probably not an essential, I'd say, right?
But I actually would, because Luxardo, that specific Luxardo like maraschino liqueur is in so many classic cocktails that it's one of those, I don't know, like this is where I would create some weird like I would need like some sort of like graph or list situation, because there are some ingredients that you're going to have high usage of. And then there's some things like Luxardo or like creme de violette, violet liqueur. They're in classic cocktails, and I think a well-stocked bar should have them. But you're going to use them in such little increments that even though it seems like when I buy one of those, I feel like I'm filling in like a blank on my bar that I'm not going to have to worry about for a long time, you know? Like there's a lot of the modifiers that are in the classics are also things that they have an unfortunate high price point because they kind of know they're the one spirit that can do that job. But transversely, you don't have to use that much of them. So things like Luxardo, yeah, there's like, so I don't know. And I think that's also a second tier. Like if you wanted to make very basic cocktails, I think having like base spirits, basic modifiers, vermouths, and an understanding of syrups and fresh juices, that's all you need. But you know, then you can kind of go outwards from there and get like the next realm of like how to build the classic cocktails. And then, or if you're like me, you take up half of, because I have a small New York apartment and that gives me only so much space for liquor, and I take up half the space with weird, eccentric, like this is walnut and black cherry and I don't know, bark. This is what I'm buying. Like cordial. Like that's I have to stop myself and be like, no, you need to be able to have like the classics at home and stay away from the weird, like, I don't know, like sage and thyme, like poultry rub liqueur. Like just get the classics. So I'm having to learn that as I like build my home collection. Like don't get the weird stuff, get the stuff you need.
And sometimes maybe treat yourself to the weird stuff.
Well, I've given myself a weird shelf. That's what I've done. I have one shelf that's weird and everything else has to be useful. All right.
Okay. That's reasonable. That's fair.
So let me see. Are there any other Applejack related cocktails or Jack Rose related or questions before we move on to the Rob Roy? I'm really glad to see that so many of you are playing along at home and seem to like to drink. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can't. It's hard to go wrong with that 2 3/4 3/4 build. It's classic for a reason. It is based like cocktailing 101. I've thought about getting a 2 3/4 3/4 tattoo before because it's just like it's just one of the like 10, one of the base structures of bartending, but probably the one that is used, I'd say 10-1 over any other structure.
And then you never forget it.
Yeah, exactly. Just look at my arm. Oh, you're cheating. All right. All right, cool. So we'll put a pin in that home bar. We'll definitely come back to that. But now we're gonna move on to the Rob Roy, the Scotch Manhattan. Now I don't know how you feel about the. Oh, we need bitters for this.
Yes.
Oops, I knew there were bitters in something here. When it comes to honestly Manhattans and martinis, I like vermouth, and so I always do like at least a 2-to-1, like equal parts vermouth to, or like 1 part vermouth to 2 parts of whatever my spirit is. In this case, it's going to be Scotch. I know some people like super dry Manhattans. Some people like do 50-50. For me, I'm going to do 2-to-1, but I kind of feel like I feel weird dealing out specs on the Manhattan or the Martini, because I think this is also one of those personal preference things on just how much vermouth do you like present against your booze.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
How do you feel about your proportions on a Manhattan?
I mean, honestly, like I haven't really experimented that much. I know that I've had Manhattans that I liked and Manhattans that I didn't like as much, but I drank anyway. But I was wondering about that because when I was looking up the measurements for this one, I saw a lot of 2-ounce Scotch, 3/4 ounce sweet vermouth, which is pretty close to that, but it's just a little bit less of the sweet vermouth. I don't know.
I will say, when I'm working in a bar, that's the spec that I pour for customers, Martini or Manhattan. That's the spec that I pour. This, while we're on the subject of builds that are essential cocktailing, this build, the reason I keep saying Martini or Manhattan is it's a build that it's often called the French build. Or sometimes the Martini build, but it's, kind of, which is funny because they were both American creations, but perhaps because it was introduced via the introduction of French vermouth. I don't know. Yeah, it's most, like, classically, you're either dealing with equal parts base spirit and vermouth, or 2-to-1 base spirit to vermouth. But in modern culture, in modern bars, most people drink them a lot drier. They drink their Manhattans, their Rob Roys, like 2 to 3 ounces of whiskey to 3/4, maybe even half vermouth. And same with the martinis, usually 2 to 3 ounces of gin or vodka up against ½ ounce to maybe 3/4 ounce vermouth, if at all. If not, it's super dry and they just want the vermouth in the glass. So just kind of depends on how much you either want chilled spirit or a cocktail. That's how I look at it. Or something in between.
Yeah, and I'd say maybe, if you love Scotch as much as Bogart did, maybe you should go with a little bit more vermouth and in those proportions. Just give yourself a little bit of a bubble.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, well, no, I think he probably would hate it.
No. He would want it to be. He would want the ratio of Scotch to vermouth to be 2-to-0 instead. Yeah. So it would just be Scotch. So
yeah. I'm gonna do mine 2-to-1. I'm gonna also put some Angostura bitters in there. 2 or 3 dashes.
Are you building it in the glass, or are you gonna shake it up?
I'm gonna build it.
We're not gonna shake it. Sorry.
I'm gonna build it in a pint glass and stir it in the glass over ice, and then I'm gonna strain it into a coupe.
Okay. All right.
I have this. You're not gonna be able to see it, but it's got a chocobo etched into it. It's nice.
I remember that glass.
Yes, it's actually a Mughal writing at chocobo.
Very,
very fancy barware here.
That's cute.
All right.
Okay, so we put our bitters in the glass first, so that we don't forget them.
Exactly. I'm gonna do a whole ass ounce of vermouth. Also, this is where I don't think we've talked about the Manhattan. I don't know if we talked about, because you might have heard the order a perfect Manhattan. That's not asking your bartender to like achieve a level of perfection. That's perfect just means that it's equal parts sweet and dry vermouth.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're just mixing your vermouths on that. I like a perfect Manhattan a lot. I think that because it's not so much like dry vermouth. We often think like sweet vermouth and dry vermouth, and one is sweet and one is dry. They're completely different. products. They add completely different complexities to a drink. So it just kind of adds another layer, I think, of depth to a Manhattan, or in this case, a Rob Roy. I've never had somebody order a perfect Rob Roy, but you know,
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I kind of would want to try that, but not right now because we're doing the right thing. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do 2 ounces of.
You got that Cutty Sark.
I got the Cutty Sark. When
I like that stuff.
It's good stuff. It's affordable. I feel like if you're mixing Scotch, I like to do like a float of a blended or of a single malt Scotch. Like I'll top cocktails with Lefroy or something. But man, it's hard to mix with a single malt Scotch when there's plenty of blended Scotch that'll do the job, and you're not going to hit the price point. Liz, I know that you had to work with what you could find, so you're going to have a damn fancy cocktail over there.
Yes. Well, okay. I was looking for something like Cutty Sark or Monkey Shoulder, right? That's what it's. Did I just make something up? Yes, Monkey Shoulder.
There's a lot of like animal parts in Scotch. There's Monkey Shoulder. There's Pig's Nose. So it's all very confusing. At some point, we're constructing some horrible monster. But
yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. I wasn't able to find that locally, so instead of buying a $60 bottle of Scotch, I bought a $6 bottle of Scotch.
That's a single malt, right?
It is a single malt. It's very hard for me to pronounce this name. It's called Bunnahabhain.
Bunnahabhain. Yep, that's Habhain.
Bunnahabhain.
If anybody in the live feed right now is screaming how to pronounce that, I'm so sorry.
We can't hear you.
Well, no, I mean we can actually we can read what you say, so we're just gonna apologize if you wanna.
Right, we can read it, but we won't be able to hear how to pronounce it correctly.
That's true. So. I'm also, one thing that I realized a lot, because I always have to look up like a reading of the words. Was there a part in school where they taught you how to read pronunciation guides, like what the lines mean? Because whenever I go like find a word to pronounce, there's like the spelling out like how you're supposed to read it, and there's all the squiggly lines that are supposed to tell you things. I don't know, like
right. Well, you have to know. You have to know how to read IPA, international. But which I did because I went to theater school and I had like a voice and speech class. We did have to learn IPA, but I like take it from someone who has learned it and forgotten a lot of it. Like, yeah, if you don't know what those symbols mean, then that's not going to help you at all.
Yeah, it becomes one of the things where I want to know how to pronounce this word, but the time it's going to take me just to learn the language that's telling me how to pronounce it, I'm just going to hope that some gracious person recorded themselves saying it on a random website, which usually works out for me. Luckily, it's worked out so far.
Yeah, there's lots of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it smells cool. I haven't poured mine yet. Wait, yes. I have so many glasses on this table.
All right, I have a maraschino cherry for my garnish.
I don't.
Oh, that's fine.
I could put a little, I guess I could put like a dash of the maraschino liqueur if I felt fancy.
Yeah, I mean, the maraschino cherry is going to add sugar. That Luxardo, like we talked about, it's not very sweet, so I don't know.
No, it's very dry. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to drink it like this and see how it goes.
You're going to just put it in you're drinking it Bogart style, no frills.
No frills.
All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Yay. Oh.
I like that.
That's
I like that a lot.
Alarm for what time?
No.
Alexa.
Alarm for what time?
Alexa, stop. I don't want an alarm. Please stop. I said
She just wants to be included.
She just messes with me. All she ever does is like, do you want to learn how to make turkey beef? And I'm like, Alexa, I'm a vegan. Oh God, I just said her name. She's going to talk back. Okay, good.
She's still listening though. She's just waiting for her moment. She's always listening. My Google Home freaks me out. So I turned the mic off, but now whenever I get close to it, if I get close enough to it that it like senses someone's there, it's like the mic's off. If you want to turn the mic on.
Do you want to talk to me? You want to talk? Can we talk? Should we talk?
It's really terrifying, actually. She can sense me.
I do want to know if I'm the only person that like, I have to, anytime I ask Alexa something, I have to thank her. Like, I need that moment of closure to our conversation where I'm not going to say the phrase because then she'll get confused. But like I have to thank because she's smarter than me. She knows more than I'll ever know. And I know we have a tenuous relationship right now where I'm in control, but I know things could change. I'm looking right at her as I say this. I know. And that's why I respect you.
We've asked her how she feels about taking over the world, about robots.
Yeah, she was real. She was a little dicey about that. I don't know.
She was a little vague.
Yeah.
She said she doesn't want to personally, but you know, she doesn't speak for all artificial intelligence.
I just hope that if I'm kind enough to mine, that she'll just, at least when the roles are reversed and I serve her, I've been all right to her.
You think that she won't share all your personal information? She will.
Probably.
She will.
She's
gathering it right now. That's her entire purpose.
It was a Christmas present. I just had a small robot forced upon me, and I already like treat inanimate objects with great concern. So somebody just thrust this upon me. It's very useful. I like it. But there's
do you want a robot pet?
Oh no. I'm going to love it.
It's like a Neopet, but it can read your thoughts.
How do I feel about this? All right. But hey, how's the drink?
It's beautiful. I like it. And it's been a while since I've really enjoyed something really, I don't know, what would you call this? A stiff drink?
It is. I like how, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Manhattan. I should say that. Really rye or bourbon. I'm not a huge fan of the Manhattan, but I do like the Rob Roy. And I think it's something about the I don't know, like the Scotch just has so much. Scotch has a lot of sweetness to my palate. So it kind of has that edge of bourbon, but it also has the smoke. It also has the dryness.
Mm-hmm.
It just brings a lot more to the table that I feel like I'm always wanting with a rye Manhattan or a bourbon Manhattan. There's something that I'm wanting more of. And because Scotch just has that duality to it, I think it fills out the drink a lot more. And the vermouth just backs it up. I find it a really well-rounded drink. I think for this proportion that I pour, the 2-to-1, it's a very harmonious blend between the Scotch and vermouth. But you know, I don't know. I'm also I love Scotch too. Like given like, you know, in like the major like whiskey rankings, it's like Scotch is number 1 for me, then rye, and then I'll drink bourbon if it's there. I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people mad with that too.
Well, okay, so coming from the opposite perspective, I don't typically think that I like Scotch. Now I've said that to you and we've had this conversation and I, you know, it's very possible that I just haven't liked the Scotches that I've tried. But I like this and I do think I like it more than a bourbon Manhattan, which I typically like when I go for a whiskey, I would go for a bourbon because I'm usually going to drink it pretty simple. I'll like just drink it on the rocks or something. And then like, as it dilutes, a bourbon is going to be like, it feels like it's already kind of a cocktail because you've got the sugar there. But I will say when I do have a Manhattan with bourbon, the sweetness makes it feel kind of gross personally,
well,
just for me.
But
Yeah.
Was that, I think that's why the perfect Manhattan really works well for a bourbon Manhattan. I mean, classically a Manhattan is rye. So I think that marriage is really succinct. But so many people, I would say 2-to-1, I get orders for bourbon Manhattans over rye Manhattans. And I always ask, it's kind of like the same confusion that happened with Martini. Like, this should have always been rye. It's a better setup between the sweet vermouth and the dry kind of like spicy rye. It makes more sense, but just culturally, because rye fell so out of favor, we started making everything with bourbon. And bourbon is just so like it's just cooler to drink bourbon. It's cooler to know about bourbon. I love bourbon, don't get me wrong. Like, none of these spirits am I saying like they're bad. It's just, for me personally, in cocktailing, I think rye brings more to the table in a cocktail.
Yes, I agree with that. Because I think this is what I was trying to say before, is that like I think that I want bourbon in a cocktail because when I drink whiskey by itself, I drink bourbon by itself. But that does not translate to a cocktail. And I've definitely enjoyed cocktails that were made with rye or even scotch even when I didn't think I liked scotch, but like, yeah.
And I mean, that's the beauty of cocktailing is that the idea behind it isn't to take a perfect spirit and like, I mean, some spirits I think are best. There are plenty of things that I don't think go in cocktails. I feel like I say that a lot. Like, you can use it, but it's a shame, because I do think some spirits are like, it's not like your cocktail gets better because you put a $200 bottle of scotch in it. It's just, you just kind of downgraded a $200 bottle of scotch with lemon juice and sugar. Like, some things are just great on their own. And I feel like when a spirit when it has, I don't want to say a weakness, but when it has something that has to be kind of balanced out, like the spiciness and the heat of rye, or, I mean, sometimes like the grassiness of like rum agricole, it's bringing something really unique to the table that you have to kind of tailor back or like, or enhance or frame. And I think that's really, those spirits are more fun to cocktail with. So there are no bad spirits, just some go over ice, some need some help, some don't, some are somewhere in between.
That's fair. That's very fair. And I will say, I know that it's a little bit sacrilege that I used single malt scotch in this, but I will say,
I bet it's really fucking good.
It's really good. It's really fucking good, because it's not like, there's not a lot of ingredients in here. So you do get like a lot of the flavor of this particular scotch. And then also, I think that I kind of discovered a secret, because this little bottle is exactly 2 ounces, which is how much you need to make this cocktail. And this bottle was $6. So if you're thinking like, I mean, I obviously like, I already had the vermouth, but the vermouth wasn't that much. So if you're doing this for your home bartending, and you want a cocktail with some nice scotch, you could just get this, compared to like what you would pay when you go out. This is $6. You make it yourself, but like,
well, but that's what we're all doing right now. So that is a great,
right?
That's a great deal.
I feel like I found a hack accidentally.
Yeah.
Because I would not buy, if I bought this, because I like this. I mean, I might go back and buy the bottle sometime, but if I go back and buy the bottle, I'm not going to be making cocktails with it.
Yeah.
But this was nice for this time.
I mean, there's no like none of these, like, these are not rules. These are like vague observations. There are some times where I've had a cocktail made for me, or I've had it other places where it's like, God, they're putting an incredibly expensive ingredient in this drink, but it tastes amazing. So there are no like, you must always follow this rule. It's always bad to do this. It's always right to do this. And there are a lot of bartenders that have that kind of dogma. I don't agree with that. I think if you enjoy what ends up in your glass, and you accomplish what you set out to do. But I do think that like, there's a lot more wiggle room with cheap spirits. Sometimes you can just be satisfied with a good spirit on its own.
Yeah.
But it's all, it's I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying all the wrong things. The guild is going to take away my suspenders.
Listen, I'm not I'm not part of the clubs. They can't
Sure.
throw
I'm
me
not
out. So
actually really.
I'll say it. You can do whatever you want with the scotch that you buy for yourself. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's, you heard it from Pebbles. She's coming back.
Oh.
It's kind of hot in my kitchen. I'm just gonna listen.
Mhm.
Okay. I realized that I wore these glasses to be glamorous, and I haven't really felt glamorous this whole time. So why even?
I like it.
Listen.
I like the combo.
Oh yeah?
I do. I like the yeah, that's a look. That's a whole ass look.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Brought to you by Rob Roy.
Yes. Thank you, Rob Roy.
Thank you, Rob.
I do. I don't know. I'm a sucker for Scotch cocktails. I mean, how do you get me to buy a cocktail that's maybe priced higher than I can afford? Put Scotch and mezcal in a drink, and then something weird. That's it.
Ooh, Scotch and mezcal?
Oh, I love combining Scotch and mezcal.
Oh shit!
Well, that's actually one of my favorite tricks. Is like you do the base in mezcal, which is a little bit more affordable, and then you like add like a little bit, like a float of like a single malt Scotch.
We did that for the mezcal episode, right?
Yes, we did. Mm-hmm. And I had that on my last menu. We had it was like a mezcal. I had a pineapple rosemary shrub, and then it had a float of Scotch on top. There's lime juice in it too. But
beautiful.
Yeah. So I don't know. I love smoke. I love smoke and drinks. Like I don't smoke, but I will drink smoke happily. Don't smoke, just drink smoky cocktails.
It's the healthier smoke.
There you go. All right. Sort of. Probably not. We're never going to claim anything's healthy on this show.
No.
All right, so I'm gonna switch over to some questions now. See what's been going on in the chat.
How y'all doing?
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Did anybody make the Rob Roy? Did you try it? Did you love it? Gotta love it.
I'm glad that people are definitely enjoying the Jack Rose, and that is awesome.
Yes. I'm enjoying it too. I'm enjoying too. Both.
I'm glad that other people also don't know how to read the pronunciation things. Thank you for making me feel like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it makes me feel stupid. It makes me feel like there's a lack in my education. But I had public education. I had amazing teachers, but sometimes,
I think unless you are taking a speech class or an etymology class or something like that, it's just not really, I mean, it's not really practical. Like, I mean, it's kind of like I learned algebra. Don't know how to do it now. Don't use it. Just for me. I know some people use algebra in life. I'm not one of those people. So did I need to learn it? Questionable. Not sure. But my brain said, I don't have any room for that. I'm not using it. So it's gone. IPA. I remember some IPA because I took, like, it was part of, I took a dialects class. So I had to, it's not only I learned the International Phonetic Alphabet, but I had to use it practically. Like I had to apply it a lot. So I know, and still, like, if I actually have to look any of that up now, like I need a refresher. I don't know it by heart. But at some point I did, which is interesting that my brain prioritizes information like that. But yeah, if you don't need it, most people don't use it.
Well, I think it's interesting how, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna go around rant on public education because I I think that it's such a like a one-off, like, oh, you made me learn geometry and now I never need it. It's like, well, some people super do, and that's why we have computers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
like it's
Thank
just
you
more
for
like,
people
hey,
who know it.
yes. So for some people, it's very important. It's just that we tend to like downplay the stuff that's for like. There's other things that we don't allow you to focus on at a young age, and then there are other things that's like. I think it's the ability to differentiate your learning, because there's too many metrics that just say like, if you're bad at this, you're a bad student. If you're good at this, you're a good student. It's like, well, we don't work in all the other stuff that people can be good at that falls outside of traditional education.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's the bigger thing for sure.
Math was hard for me. I was one of those people that felt like I had to have straight A's, but math was that thing that like I would stay up at night and just cry because of math for like a year. I was in advanced math too. Like I was taking math that I shouldn't have, like that was like 2 years advanced for me because I felt like I was supposed to. And that's like, my brain wasn't ready for that math meet. And I was still just like, no, we're going to do this, and just cry every night over math. I'm so like, as bad as things are now, I'm so glad I don't cry over math anymore.
It's not worth it. Don't cry over math.
I cried over math like every night. I felt like my life could not advance because of math.
Well, let me ask you this. I know we're kind of off topic. We'll get back to it, guys.
Yeah.
But this is interesting to me. Were you good at geometry? Because a lot of artists that I talk to, because geometry is shapes and it's like visual and it's like measurable values like that, like a lot, I know a lot of people who do visual arts were better at geometry than other math subjects.
In retrospect, because I took up to pre-cal, and I think my grades varied between like, I never actually got a B, but like almost to a B, and I was going to have a breakdown and then A's. And it was like, so I don't think I was actually bad at any of them. I think it was really just more like I had some really pleasant geometry teachers. And then algebra, like I remember like algebra being the thing that broke me, but then pre-cal was okay and geometry was okay. So I don't know. I don't think there's any like, I get what you're talking about, the visualization, and that part I kind of got, and I still have that kind of a brain. Like I have a very visual like ability to like conceptualize, but I think it was just more like I wasn't really bad at any of them. It was just like they're concepts that I think are hard to digest, and they don't necessarily work on the same metric as like memorize some facts. If that's the way your brain works, everybody's brain is different.
Yeah, no, everybody's brain is different for sure. And I was really good at geometry, and I had the same geometry teacher as my algebra teacher, and algebra was like, I wasn't actually good at it, but sometimes I would get the right answer because I don't like, I would go about a problem in a roundabout way and then like somehow arrive at the right answer sometimes. And like, no one could explain it. Like I could, like, I do remember one time my algebra teacher was like, how did you do this? Like, what does this work mean? And I was like, I don't know. I don't remember. Like, I don't know. And he was like, well, you got it right, but no one knows why. But I did know how to cut my losses when it came to math. I did what you did for math. I did for like English and history. Like I took AP classes when I had no business doing that. I mean, personally, that was like, I really did not need to do that, but I did. I remember like being asked, like, you're going to take pre-calc, like you should sign up for trigonometry. And I was like, no, thank you. Nope. Not going to do that. Why would I do that? It's not a requirement. No, I'm not going to do that. Are you crazy? But for some, I'm glad that some people know it. I'm not one of those people.
I think, I mean, it's so, oh yeah, gosh, it's such like I see people in the comments saying that they're also, math is a bad memory, and it's weird for me to like be an adult and be like, you know what, I was never bad at it. Like I never performed super bad at it. It just was something that my brain was bad at processing, and because of the reward-based system of education, I thought I was bad at it. Instead of being like, my brain eventually got it. Like it eventually cracked it, but it just had to suffer. And I had to like live like a year of my life feeling like a failure because my brain wasn't figuring out like, I think it was pre-algebra was bad, and then geometry was good, and then like trig and pre-cal were great. I don't know. It was just a learning curve.
I mean, for sure, like just the fact that you were in pre-calc and trig, like tells me that you're not bad at math.
But I had that year of like pre-algebra that made me feel like the dumbest person alive because I was confronted by something that my brain hadn't figured out how to work with yet. And instead of me being like, this is room to grow, it was like, well, but A's are the only thing, like A's are A's and B's are B's and B's are bad. And like, I don't know, like, I'm not endorsing that. Please understand.
Yeah,
like,
but
your brain is an amazing elastic thing that learns all the time. Like, there are times now where like, I look back at old drawings of hands that I did in like college or like even like a few years ago. I'm like, I didn't know how to draw a hand, and I drew hands all the time and thought
hands are very hard to draw.
Like
hands are hard.
But I've also had a lot. Like I've been purposely very kind to myself with like learning and advancing in my adult life. I can be my own teacher. I can say, if you're working towards something, you're advancing. Like, that's great. Like, it doesn't matter how fast you advance. That's great. So when I look back and I realize like, oh, you know what? My old drawings look bad. Or, like my old logic doesn't make sense to me anymore. I advanced. That's good. That can be congratulated because there's nobody like stamping a report card. I don't know.
Yeah.
I get the need for metrics. I'm not railing against it, but I can totally understand how not everybody's brain fits into that. Like, you know?
and just like the system of education isn't like always, it's not one size fits all. And I think like that's like, especially in America, there was when we were growing up, I think it's not as bad today, but when we were growing up, it was more of a like, there is a standard of how everyone learns. And then like, there's like some people like they were willing to say some people don't fit into that and they need like a different kind of education, but like even that was kind of stigmatized. Like a lot of people got put into special ed who like had, and there was a stigma about that when like it was just that they, you know, like they needed a different approach. And I'm so glad that like, because I'm now, you know, normally when school is in session, I'd be like teaching kids and working with kids and like talking to them and stuff. And I think that like nowadays it's a lot more accepted that like people learn differently.
Yeah. Well, that's part, like I was always in tag when I was a kid, like talented and gifted. And that right there, so that's just, I mean, it was such a like an expectation that I'm supposed to be smart when really it was just, I don't know, I was a people pleaser. And so I would be hyper focused on like memorizing things to do well. But like that doesn't comment on the elasticity of my learning ability. It just was my desperation to be good at something. And I don't know, like to be in a program that both encourages that and enforces that for the rest of my life. Like there was some undoing that I had to do.
Yeah.
I am now fully like
relearning, reschooling, reparenting, like
happily a slacker now. Like happily, like I do the things that I like to do and then I enjoy them and that make me happy and make the people around me happy. But that took a while.
Yep, it does.
Do the things that you're good at because then people will applaud you for being good at them. Like that's a hard shell to crack.
Yeah, that's a hard lesson to learn.
We have. I mean,
I know.
I appreciate this conversation. I think I don't care. I love all of you watching this, and I love you, Liz. I'm gonna look back over to the comments.
Yeah, let's go back to some questions.
I think I know our audience. I don't think they mind a conversation about this kind of stuff. All right, let's see. Okay, somebody said, Andrew Gard, can the movie Rob Roy be considered bar alcohol adjacent? I don't know that movie. Do you know that movie, Liz?
I've never seen it, but I'm interested in it. I'm interested in it. I'll see what it's about.
A couple people have made Titanic references to Jack Rose. That would be a great watch-along cocktail.
Oh my God, yes.
That's so on the nose.
Let's just drink Jack Roses and watch Jack and Rose
That'll be Patreon content. We'll have a watch along with Titanic where we just drink Jack Roses and just cry.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I love that movie and also hate it and love it. I love to hate it. But we are doing, should we tell them? We should tell them because we're going to do it tomorrow, right?
Please tell them so I can look through the comments without this just being in dead air.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes,
Hello, everyone.
Take it, Liz.
All right. So we did tease on the podcast this week that we would be doing a Casablanca watch along. We are going to be doing that tomorrow night, as long as my internet works, God willing. I'll make sure it works. I'll figure something out. But we are going to do a watch along. I think we're going to do, the last time we did it at 7:30. Is that true?
For the watch
I might be making that up.
I think we did. So, I think we had about a half an hour of talking and then we got into it.
Yes. So we'll do 7:30. You can join us with like a little pre cocktail and a little convo, and then 8:00 we'll start the movie. I'm not sure how long the movie is. I feel like it's a long movie, but we'll probably be done by like 10:00 at least. I can't imagine Casablanca is longer than 2 hours. We might do a little intermission in there, but we did want to let you guys know because, and we're going to tweet about it tonight as well, because we did want to give you a day's notice. So here is that notice. We're doing it tomorrow night. If you want to join us, watch Casablanca. I think that it is available to rent from YouTube for $4, which is fine. No, I'll do it. If anybody knows where it's free and you want to share that with others who might be wanting to join, you can do that. I feel like we shouldn't tell you where to watch it for free because we might get in trouble. But if you want to find that on your own and share it with people, that's great. But I know that we can rent it online for I think it was like $4. So we're going to be doing that tomorrow, and we're going to be making some champagne cocktails to go with that.
Yes. I think I could say exactly what we're going to. I mean, we'll obviously post the list, but the two drinks that are made in the bar are a champagne cocktail, which is just ordered just like that. But what you can see the bartender make is champagne with sugar and bitters. I think there's a splash of gin in there. That's how I like it. But that point it's basically a French 75. So I think champagne, bitters, and sugar is fine. And then also a French 75 is mentioned. So that is a wartime drink. So it's a great drink. Also, I think you could also just buy some like decent bubbles, and that also works.
If you want to just drink champagne with us, that's fine.
One thing that I do think is interesting, we didn't talk about this in the episode, but another order that happens in Casablanca is Victor Laszlo originally orders Cointreau. He orders Cointreau for him and his wife, and then he decides to switch up to champagne to be celebratory. But the idea of a glass of just Cointreau, really, I remember that kind of shocking me when I was young, and I was like, well, who would just drink triple sec?
Right, because we think of all triple secs as the same, like all orange liqueur is the same thing, but it's very different, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. Some orange liqueurs are based in wine or brandy. Some orange liqueurs are based in grain neutral spirits. In the case of Cointreau, that is like it's a grain neutral, I think sugar beets classically, and it's made with like an infusion of dried bitter orange peels and sweet orange peels. So it's a very specific ingredient. Also, something I'd say is important for a classic cocktail like home bar setup. But the idea of like sipping on a sweet fruit liqueur or like an off-dry fruit liqueur as like a pre-dinner drink was normal at the time. It's something that's kind of fallen out of use here in American culture. I think you would still encounter it in some parts of European culture, but that I considered that like, would it be cool to have like a trial of like sipping straight Cointreau? But I think our palates are just different now. I would, that is a sweeter palate. That's a little bit more of a specific kind of drink that may make sense in certain cultures, but not so much ours. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any Cointreau. I have a pretty nice triple sec. I have a pretty nice orange liqueur, but I don't think I'd want to just sip it by itself.
No. Yeah, and that's, it's all up to your palate. But then, I mean, some people, that's what you like.
Sure.
So
maybe on the rocks.
yeah.
Right.
We're gonna make some champagne drinks. Probably the French 75 and a classic champagne cocktail. So you can buy one bottle of nice bubbles, have some bitters, have some gin, have some sugar cubes. You'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
I always saw one question that I wanted to answer that I thought was good. It's not the one that I'm thinking of, but I do think it's a good question about Kingsman. It's been a while since I've seen Kingsman. It would be considered a bar adjacent because of the bar fight scene? Probably not, but I would still love to watch the movie because I love Kingsman. It's a good movie. It's just stupid action, like cool people doing cool things movie. But
yeah.
I love stupid movies with cool people doing cool things. Like that's my favorite.
That's a good formula for a good movie, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this was it. How much does garnish change a drink? If you put a cherry in a Jack Rose, is it Jack Ryan all of a sudden? I didn't read it that far. Usually the base spirits that impact it that much. So garnish, a lot of times we treat garnish as just the pretty thing that makes it look pretty. And I think that I was taught, I grew up in like a very specific kind of bartending scene that was your garnish has to have a point in your drink. And either that's adding like aromatics, it's like as it sits in your drink, it changes the flavor. Like it can't just look nice. So I still always kind of feel like sometimes I garnish things with really silly, and I mean, I break that rule all the time. Like I garnish drinks with rubber duckies and dinosaur action figures. I do weird shit at my bar, but like, I do like that idea of like being aware. Like if your garnish does nothing, then that's fine. But it can, when we're talking about the difference between like having a twist or a wheel or a peel, that will definitely change a drink. A peel in particular. A peel is basically another ingredient. When we add a peel to a drink, you're adding the oil of the fruit, the citrus fruit. So that's going to change the way that you smell it. It's going to sit on top of the drink and hit your lips first. So a twist massively changed your drink. When you're adding something like a wheel or a wedge, you're still inviting the opportunity to add additional citrus in there. So I do think I don't think your garnish. I have broken from the what I was raised as in my bar education. I don't think your garnish has to have a point in the drink, but I think if it has the ability to change the flavor of your drink, you need to consider it in the larger palate of the drink. If you put a lime wedge on your drink, somebody might squeeze it in there, and does that mess up the drink? Like if you have a cute garnish that's like an edible flower, but your edible flower is super bitter, does that throw off the palate of your drink?
Yeah.
So I do think there's a relationship between garnish and drink that's either like you throw it out the window and you say it doesn't impact the drink, it's totally just for looks, or you have to like factor in that someone might eat it. Someone might eat it. And I've seen this like I do dehydrated garnishes in the fall a lot to keep like something like that adds to the drink, but it's also like good for the colder months. And inevitably somebody will try to eat like a dehydrated lime wheel and be like, this isn't nice. And I'm like, okay. And then when instead of being mad, I just go, how can I make it nice? Like,
I was gonna say, to that point, like when I see a lime wedge on the side of a drink, I always squeeze it in because I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Or just like, I'm like, oh, I like limes. Like, I would be the person who tries to eat the garnish because I would assume that it's edible.
I think that's a normal. I don't know. I mean, I think you can't put anything on the drink that you think people won't maybe try to eat, and that if it's
unless it is Unless it is the rubber ducky. I wouldn't try to eat that.
Yeah, I mean, some people.
I'm not a child.
Some people have asked. I had a drink that had a rubber ducky on it, and people did ask if it was edible, and I did. I made sure it was a size that you could not swallow, but
okay,
you know.
good.
So nobody tried, but that did introduce that thought to me, like, oh, I have to put on the menu that the rubber ducky is not edible. That's new, but hey, whatever.
That's cute.
It would be really cool if it was.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm glad to see you guys have. It looks like you're talking about complicated internet stuff that I don't understand.
Internet stuff?
No, it's not that complicated. I think there's a Discord up for us, and that's awesome. Like we said,
great.
You guys are totally fine to do that.
We
are fine with fan sites. We are fine with Discords. Any information you can send us about that, that's cool. But we've made it clear we're really happy with those of you that join in and watch us and take part. We're personally not interested in like modding any of our own groups, but we are happy to have you guys out there doing that. And definitely, like we're still figuring this stuff out. But anybody that wants to take a point position on that, I'm happy to have that happen.
Yeah, and I do think we're going to have a Facebook group soon, but like Taylor mentioned, we are not going to be a part of that. We will be passing it off to moderators, and y'all can have a day with it if that's what you like to do. We support you. Yeah, so that's great. Cool. I didn't even know what Discord was, but I'm glad it's there. That sounds cool.
I agree. Yeah. All right. I don't see any other questions. What's that? Sound? I was trying to figure out if that was me or is that, I don't know.
It might be me.
All right. All right. So yeah, if anybody has any other alcohol related questions about anything related to the podcast, we will take them now. Otherwise, we're gonna get off here. Liz, how you hanging? Still doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I got this I finished my Rob Roy, so I have the rest of my Jack Rose. Yes.
I've been all right. I've still got a little bit left. I don't know, but
a little bit.
And this is all melted now, so who knows? I don't know. I've been trying to just stick to my, like, especially on this day, I look forward to doing this, and so it's like, just, these are the drinks I'm drinking tonight. I hope I like them. So I'm glad that tonight were 2 drinks that I like.
They're really nice.
Yeah.
I've had fun.
I do think
I'm excited to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I said I was gonna say I'm excited to watch Casablanca and drink champagne.
I think that sounds amazing. I would encourage. Obviously, it's just going to be the 2 of us that are visible, but anybody that wants an excuse to dress up fancy, we're watching Casablanca. So if you want to watch along with us and send us your fancy wear, you know what? You don't you're at home. Do it.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
It doesn't even have to be period appropriate. Let's just pretend that we're having like a high-end fashion-y watch party at my tiny New York apartment where nobody can be 6 feet from each other.
Is the theme okay? So what if we made the theme is Hollywood? However you want to interpret that.
I love
it can be old Hollywood or new Hollywood or anything in between.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Ooh.
Do we have any more questions? Or is that it for today?
I'll click over and look. I feel like people are winding down.
Yes. It's we've gone on for a while, actually.
I know. It's almost 10 o'clock. Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for the comments on the vest. Yes, I like wearing vests.
It's a great vest.
It's a good vest. I got this vest. Well, actually, I guess this is the vest I got for his zero fail, but which is wrong because it's not his color scale. No. This is the vest I got for a character from Fruits Baskets. I was in a big cosplay group. So much of my clothing is just former cosplay stuff that I like, but yeah, and then I've just worked it into my wardrobe. That being said,
Well,
I usually only cosplay characters if there's some part of their wardrobe that, because look, I only have so much time and I'm kind of broke all the time. So if a cosplay has a piece of clothing that I can work into my regular wardrobe, that's great. It's clothes.
Sounds good. I love it. I love the results.
All right, we got a couple questions here. What kind of cocktails can you make from beer and ale? Michael asks. All right, so I feel like we've done a couple shandies, but
I was gonna say I know this one. Shandies.
Exactly. Shandies are the easiest answer to that.
Beer mimosas.
Beer mimosas also. I'm like in the shandy case.
Micheladas.
Liz, you have a lot of answers. All right.
Just for this one, I never.
You're very aware. All right. Well, a shandy is usually a mixture of beer and like ginger ale, with like either some fruit juice in there, some lemon juice, maybe like a fruit liqueur. But like beer and ginger ale or beer and ginger beer is kind of a classic like shandy situation. Mm-hmm. Like as Liz mentioned, a michelada is great. That like in its simplistic form is like tomato juice, lime, and beer. It's like a Bloody Mary with beer instead of liquor. That's a great way of using beer.
Yeah, you can just use your favorite Bloody Mary mix.
Yeah.
Put your favorite beer in there.
Yeah, I do think you can be a bit more nuanced with beer. I've seen people because the carbonation with beer is the thing you usually have to work around that kind of keeps it in the realm of like a topper. But if you put beer in your shaker and instead of shaking it, you just kind of swirl it. So have it as an ingredient. I remember I worked on a menu once that used like a super dense milk stout with like creme de cacao and rum and some coconut cream. And there was some sort of acid. I think there was lime in there, but we didn't shake it. We swirled it in the shaker, and that would sort of decarbonate the beer. It would still have a bit of a texture to it, but it would sort of it would become more of a flavoring agent. So beer is an ingredient that typically gets relegated to the topper category, like the things we talked about. But I'm always for like if you get a really flavorful beer, like a really strong IPA, try like kind of like swirling in a shaker, using it as a base, using it as a flavor element in your drink. There are guidelines, there are no rules. So
nice.
I'll say that. How do I make questions about the She-Ra finale podcast related? What would the main cast drink? Oh no! Who asked this question?
Oh no!
No!
You know what? Can we think about it, because I feel like this is going to be a very long answer. I am very excited about this.
Have you watched it yet?
I watched the whole thing in one day. Yes. I think that we both probably have a lot of theories about this, and we should discuss this for the next episode. So can we put a pin in that and say, listen to the next episode, and that'll be our intro for this next week?
Yes, because I don't want to.
I want to talk about She-Ra.
I do too. It was so freaking good.
Freaking gay.
It was so gay, but it changed. Like it's weird because it's all the stuff that we've had. Like oh, maybe it's gay, but maybe it's not. And she was like, no, we're just gonna do it. Like we know that's what you guys show up for. We're just gonna do it. It's also a queer writers, queer casting.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm not gonna. Yeah, this is not the place for it. Although I want to make it the place for it, and we'll figure out how to make it the place for it. But
we'll just talk about on the intro. Our intros never have anything to do with what we're going to talk about. So that'll.
Yeah, I like that thought, because like offhand I'm like, God, I don't know. I just want to give like Catra drinks mezcal. That's just because I drink mezcal. That's what like.
I feel like she would.
Yeah.
She would either. I feel like Catra would drink mezcal, something like really like kind of like considered something like kind of rough, or she would drink like a vermouth cocktail. Have I said that about someone before?
Well,
I feel like I've said that.
I think
That's
that
a different person.
I've seen people order things that I think like, is that really what you want to drink, or do you just want to like hurt yourself in a way? And I feel like
Yes.
that like warm gin is a thing that's what comes to mind. So I think like Catra season 1 through 4 is like, I'm just gonna drink like whiskey. I'm just gonna drink warm gin.
Yeah.
And then like finally Catra season 5 is like, you know what, I'm gonna drink what I want to drink and not what I feel like I'm supposed to, because this is the lot in life I've been given. That's
what about
like,
film noir Catra?
What? Film noir. Well,
you know, like
like
glimmers hallucination of Catra, the film noir Catra.
Well, that's Scotch. That's Humphrey Bogart. That's literally full circle. Okay. A likable character that you shouldn't like. Oh, that's everything Humphrey Bogart plays, and Catra.
Catra. That's why we like Humphrey Bogart, because Humphrey Bogart is Catra.
Yes, sort of.
Controversial. Hot take.
Hot take. All right, we're gonna come back to you with some sheer thoughts. All right. Yes. I don't like beer, wine, champagne. To start with me, any other days of what I could drink along with the movie. If you don't like beer, wine, or champagne, what could you drink with Casablanca? I mean,
anything you want.
Yeah, I think that's actually honestly the answer. I think
anything you want.
Based on where they are geographically, any sort of like rum or cachaça or I think anything in that realm. Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with like Morocco, so like I mean, I would say Batavia, Iraq. That's weird to find. I think you could do like some you could make like a really nice like daiquiri or something. I don't like we're talking about this is also we're also like the time period is so conducive to. Really, people were just drinking what they could drink at the time. So I think you should drink what you enjoy. But if you enjoy rum or you enjoy like cane sugar-based spirits, that's definitely a timely thing that would have been popular in that area.
I like that. I want to ask you, I can't I'm not able to look at the questions on my screen, but because I'm having a little bit of connectivity issues and I am wondering if I might be cut off soon. So do we have any more questions?
We do. We have a few.
Okay.
Right. Somebody asked.
Just want to warn you.
What is your process for drink menu planning? I have generally, so this was a lesson that I had to learn as a young bar manager, was to make the menu for the restaurant that I worked at, not the restaurant that I want to open, because that's good service. And just look at what sells. This is not the fun stuff. For me personally, when I'm just like having fun and designing things, I like drinks that tell stories. I like using base spirits and then looking at where those spirits come from and looking what grows in that ground. I love like taking a base spirit and then looking at culinary recipes, like looking at the popular foods from that area and designing drinks with the same flavors. So I don't know. I have kind of a very like what I do for my business, like what I do at the jobs that hire me way, which is usually just looking at what sells and like designing drinks to fit the bill. But when I'm my own personal drinks, I'm never not trying to tell stories. And my favorite way to, I love to tell stories through drinks. I love to talk about like this base spirit, this is what grows in that area, or like this is a popular dessert in that area, this is a popular like main dish in that area, or trying to like work in a narrative. That sounds really like esoteric, but that's I don't know. I think food tells stories. I think cocktails can tell stories, and that's having a menu that just is sort of a good selection of like narratives is that's my ideal way. That's like if I have a bar someday, like that's how I would approach my menus personally. All right. Any other questions? What are additional ways we can support the show? Thank you, Joseph Whitaker. Joe, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna We're gonna have our next round of merch going out to our Patreon soon. You can always be a Patreon member if I mean, promote it, share it. I hope we can expand what we have available for support soon. I don't know.
Yeah. But, I mean, you know, if you like, you know, this is like like right now, everybody's listening to some podcast. So if you know somebody who would like this one, you know, like personal recommendations are great. And, you know, beyond that, like retweeting and sharing and tweeting and sharing. Yeah. You know, I guess, that's all I got really. Yeah. We're going to be rolling out the next bit of merch. And I want to that point, I want to say I got one of the rewards returned to me. I'm going to be contacting that person soon to see if that, it was a, you know, like they weren't able to get you at that address. So I'm just going to double check with that person. But, so if anybody's been we sent them out a couple weeks ago. So if anybody hasn't gotten theirs yet, contact us, message us on Patreon to let us know, and I'll take care of that because, you probably like, you know, like we use USPS, but you probably should have got it by now. So the next one is going to be going out soon. And then the next one after that. Also, if you are international, I don't know if anybody right now in the chat is international, but we haven't sent those yet. We're going to give you some more details about that because it is a little bit different to send things internationally. So we're going to be sending you more bulk things instead of just sending you each individual one. So we're going to be contacting you about that too. Yeah. But Patreon is always good. And we're working on building up our Patreon content for you. We're doing this watch along tomorrow night for anyone who wants to join. But in the future, when we do a watch along, it's probably going to be exclusive Patreon content so that we can give that to you guys. Because I know a lot of you are patrons. So, you know, we want to give you that special extra stuff. Yeah. And it is, I know, you know, we're live right now, but you know, doing this every week is no small change for us. You know, we have other stuff we have to do. Unfortunately, I wish we could just do this all the time.
We're figuring it out, and we're
you know,
so happy to have you.
We're
guys
figuring
watching and listening.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything.
Tommy, you asked what Fruits Basket character. I'm sorry, Hattori, the doctor, the sad doctor that I cosplayed. Somebody asked what the vest was that I mentioned earlier.
Ooh, yes.
Full story there. I just got roped into like a million cosplay groups one Katsucon, and all of the characters I wanted to do were taken, but I was just trying to be a good friend, and I ended up cosplaying characters that I just don't relate to at all. This was one, because if I'm gonna do Fruits Basket cosplay, I want to do like Kyo, like, maybe Hatsuhara, but like I didn't get any of the characters I wanted to do, and I just did this to be supportive of the group. And I will say, for the amount of energy that you put into cosplay, I don't think I would ever do it again, because that was like 4 groups that weekend that I did, just filling a blank and making a whole ass costume to just like round something out, which is cool if there are people that are like.
But that's where you got the vest?
That's where, yeah, that's why I bought the vest. I had a vest, I had style a wig, I had glasses. I mean, I got a good vest out of it. I got a good tie out of it. I have a lab coat. I actually already had the lab coat from Rick, but yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I think for your very close friends, it's cool to like just cosplay a character you don't love because it finishes out a group. But the lesson I learned from that is that, you know, the amount of effort that goes into a cosplay has to at least overcome the amount of effort that they've put into your friendship. And if it doesn't, then
yes,
just do the characters you want to do. Who cares if you have a group around you?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
So, because I think you all know me well enough. If anybody's watched Fruits Baskets, like I'm not a damn I'm not a sad doctor. That was a weird time in my life. All right. All right.
I don't even know what that means.
No, it was a
Sad
weird
doctor.
Weird day. All right. So I think, are there any fun Bogart stories you found in research you didn't share on the podcast? Did you find any, Liz?
I kind of feel like I overshared with Bogart. I was so excited about everything. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the one that's I don't think there's any that I didn't share. Maybe my favorite is the bicycle story.
I do really like that story.
Yeah. If you know some stories about Bogart that we didn't share, let us know, because we want to hear it for sure. I think we tried to saturate it with as much as we could. I don't think I left anything out.
Yeah. So I feel like we told the worst of it too. So if you talk about him getting stabbed, we talked about him getting stabbed. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about him getting stabbed. You talked about like one that like I think because we both researched it a lot, and like some of the ones that I was like, I'm not like, I have so much on this, I'm not going to pay it that much attention to this, but that is an interesting fact that I'm going to skip over it just for like time's sake. But then like you picked it up because I was gonna like the Sabrina.
Oh yeah, but he just thought he thought Sabrina was dumb. Like the movie, not the actress, not the character.
Yeah,
like he just
a lot. Right now,
who cares who she ends up with?
A lot of the actors thought, yeah, because it was because like actually this is similar to Casablanca. On Sabrina, and both Sabrina and Casablanca were being constantly rewritten while they were shooting it, so they weren't sure. Like in Sabrina, like they weren't sure who was going to end up with who. And that's where like you told the story about Humphrey Bogart being like, I don't give a fuck who Sabrina ends up with. I really don't care anymore.
I love when
that was more because he wasn't being included in the party, but
he had anger. But I do love when actors are just like, I don't like, just distance themselves from work while the work still is happening. Like, I don't know. Like, Robert Pattinson with Batman is like, yeah, I'm Batman, I guess. Like, I don't know. I appreciate that attitude.
Yeah. No, but Casablanca was a similar thing where they were like, Ingrid Bergman and Humphrey Bogart were both kind of like frustrated with all the rewrites and like not knowing like how it was going to end or whatever. So that's an interesting story. I don't know how often that happens for scripts nowadays. I think like that was kind of a product of old Hollywood, like being really like manufacturing films like that, and like we've got a concept for this, we just got to shoot it. And like we're kind of like the way that we think of like sitcoms and stuff like that today being written as they're ongoing. That's how they were making films.
Yeah. No, you just yeah. You know, not somebody that I think you look up to, but somebody that lived an interesting life, and you know, you can't deny his work. You can't deny his work. Let me see. Any other questions? Somebody asked, any feelings on the Batwoman change up? I don't know if you know this, Liz. You know Ruby Rose, right? Ruby Rose, the actress.
Yes.
Recently dropped out of Batwoman.
I didn't hear the story behind why.
The first season was, I'm not even going to say it was rough, because I also think like a lot of those, like I thought Arrow was pretty bad off getting off the ground. And I don't want to make a whole like thing about this, because I think that there's fandoms around both of these things and people that really like it. I'm a big proponent of if it's something that I don't personally like, maybe it's not an offense against me. Maybe it's just not made for me. Maybe it's just not my cup up. But I don't know. A lot of like the amount of, I know a big thing that's the only reason I can't, because I think Ruby Rose can do whatever she wants to do in her career, and that's her right. Like, she'll have a career no matter what. She's talented. We all know this. But I do think it's sad that a big reason for it is like online bullying, and there's a lot of that. Like, there's a lot of hatred towards the show. Like, if you're given, I mean, I don't know. I hate to see anybody back down from something because of, I don't know. I don't want to say I hate to see people back down from something because of online pressure, because that's just something that happens. But I hate to see, the thing that really bothered me is how many people said, well, if she can't take being famous, she shouldn't be. And it's just like, maybe you shouldn't just make it your job to drag somebody that's doing something that you don't particularly like. Like, I really like the Batwoman comics. I wish they kind of kept the like the sort of, I don't know, like goth rocker feel to it. It had sort of an alt feel. They made it a bit more like action adventure in the show.
Right.
But I didn't think that was just a different feel. No. I mean, I don't know. But I also just like, maybe it's not a reason to attack somebody that's working a job and like, you know, like, it's weird how much hate she got.
With that, I mean, I haven't watched it. Yeah, I haven't watched it, but if people are having a problem with like how they're doing the show, like, she has so little to do with that. Like, it's so much, like, film is so much direction and editing, and like and production. Like, it's like the actor can really only do so much. Like, casting is great, you know, like, and like I'm an actor. Like, I'm not saying this to drag actors, even like they're doing, like, actors are doing great work, but film is a medium that, like, it's not really, like, you can only do so much, and then it's out of your control as the actor. Like, unless you are in one of those very like choice positions where you have the resources to be an actor and the producer, you don't really get to make the creative, you know?
Yeah.
So I haven't watched Batwoman. I haven't watched it, but then I will also say that there's a lot of shows that I like that I was like, the first season is trash.
Well, and I like,
you got to get through this first season because it's trash.
I just thought that we all understood that like all of that same family of like DC stuff, it's like, it's kind of pulpy and it's a little trashy, but it's fun. Like, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was any different. Like, it's not my particular like thing that I like, but someone pointed out like that she had a very serious injury on set, and that maybe that was the reason. And I don't know, but I do know, like, I saw her in like Orange is the New Black. I saw her in The Meg. I saw her in, like, she can act. She's perfectly fine as an actress. I do think there's a weird contingent online that, like, because I saw it around like She-Ra too, which was amazing, and it's gonna like win awards and go down in the history books as being amazing. And there was a sect of people that were like, we're mad because there are lesbians, and it's like, lesbians exist. I don't know. I think you should focus on other things, like people that are mad.
Yeah, maybe this isn't for you.
Oh, it's pushing a social justice warrior agenda. It's like, no, I just think it's that sometimes gay people happen. I think it's just that. Like,
yeah. You know what? If you don't want to see gay people in She-Ra, you can watch the old She-Ra.
I guess, like, then, and because it's meant to sell you bad toys, but that's fine if that's your thing. If you're like, I don't care about plot or story or character development, I want to see boobs. I want to see heterosexual boobs. There's so much stuff for you. There's so much stuff for you out there. There's so much heterosexual boobage. You're fine.
Yeah, you're good. There's so much you can watch.
Give us our gay fucking cats, okay? Can
Gay
we have
cats. Yes.
No, I'm joking. Like, it's fine if you don't like something. It's fine.
No, I know.
But like,
You're fine.
why do you have to like? If you really you don't like something, is because it doesn't appeal to your sexuality. I think you have a deeper conversation that you need to have for yourself. Because as us that grew up with straight media that had to make do, it's possible. I loved Peter Parker and
Yeah.
Mary Jane because I was like, Peter Parker's not super masked. I can kind of see myself in him, and Mary Jane is hot. You can figure out a way to see yourself in media that doesn't immediately apply to yourself.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's possible. It's doable. Well.
Anyway. All right.
Anyway.
Leave Ruby Rose alone. She didn't do anything.
Leave her alone. Yeah.
All right.
We're going, I have to say, guys, we're going on 2 hours.
I think that's, I don't know. Anyway.
Are you guys still having fun?
There are still people there. I hope they're okay. Are you guys okay? Are you okay? No, check in. Are you okay?
Yeah. Well, do we have any more questions?
We do not have any more questions that I can see. Double check. One last check. You mean the old ones weren't gay? I mean, look, He-Man.
The old one's more gay? Okay. No. It's more, yeah. In
I'm
that
not gonna. I think the cool thing is that we're given actual queer content versus having to read in with like the weird, like, it's a metaphor for people being gay, but I'll never say that, right? It's like, nope, they're gay. They're absolutely gay. These girls want to kiss other girls. These boys want to kiss other boys. That's what we're doing. Hello. Like, it's metaphors and like, oh, it's representation, but not really. Like, that's cool. You do that. There's a lot of that in the past, but like,
yeah, it's it's time. It's time. I screamed with glee in the final episodes of She-Ra. I screamed with glee. It was beautiful, and I had like happy tears. It was beautiful, but you know what? Also,
it was mustache though. Fair. Okay.
What?
I liked it. I mean, Bogart the facial hair in the flash forward. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I don't
know. Oh shit! Sorry.
No, I don't know. Please.
She-Ra,
I don't think I was saying anything.
She-Ra.
Are we supposed to be? Should we say something about Humphrey Bogart?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, that's.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't have to. Forget it. We already said it.
Yeah, we're in the future now. We're with gay space princesses and their beautiful but troubled cat girlfriends.
That's the new Hollywood.
You know what? Entertainment is changing. You should add She-Ra to your queue if you want some good media.
No spoilers, but it's very, very gay.
They gained their strength over the 5 seasons, I think, to be more exceedingly more gay, but they never shy away from it. I just think that they were like, there was never baiting. They just kind of gay.
Gayness was present without fanfare. It was like, which I think is cool because it's like, like, we don't need to make a big deal about this because in this universe, and as it should be with all universes, this is normal. But then, like, I mean, to the point of season 5, every season of She-Ra is gay, but season 5 is the gayest by far.
It is. And I think it was, I mean, the creative team behind it definitely got what they were aiming for, but like, that's what we want. We want queer creators, we want queer content. And I'm, especially in the world of animation, as somebody that grew up on a steady diet of animation and just has accepted so much. I saw somebody tweet that, like, we don't have to accept queer bait anymore. We don't have to accept crumbs. We can have content that's made for us. And I don't think that means that everything has to be made for us. It just means, like, we can have, like, it's just another, it's just another way of the story going. I don't think it means that this has to be a queer story. This has to be a straight story. I think it's it's another option for your characters, which I
Yeah.
think is cool. Like it opens the door for that. Where does it be like, it has to be a gay metaphor, but we can't have gays. It's like, no, you can just have them. It's fine. We're here.
Yes.
Anyway, all right. We're definitely gonna, I don't know, we'll figure out some way to talk
Listen,
about Shira and Booze.
Everybody's gonna be here tomorrow night. We're gonna talk about this again, I'm sure, even through Casablanca. I'm sure it'll come
there's
up
nothing
again.
gay about Casablanca. I wish there was. Everybody says Casablanca is a perfect film. If only it was gay. Yeah, if we could.
We'll try. We'll do our damnedest.
But we'll see if we can gay up Casablanca. If not, it's still a pretty good movie without it being gay. It's fine. It's pretty classic.
Yeah.
So we'll see you here tomorrow night
Yeah.
yeah. All right. We will I mean, all right, so tomorrow night we'll watch Casablanca. We'll have our first of our sorry, I didn't have anything more to say there. Did you? Oh no, Liz froze. Liz, come back.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, you're here. You're here.
You're
Yay!
back.
Okay. I just had your beautiful laughing face for like a hot second, but now you're back. All right. So yeah, tomorrow we will be watching Casablanca with you, and moving
you.
forward, yes, all of you, anybody that wants to join us, in the most legal way possible. And then and then after that we'll be definitely trying to like make some more watch-alongs. Probably will be Patreon specific, but definitely like during this time,
yeah,
we'll make
not
some
to
cool
say
content.
that we'll never have a watch along that's not Patreon specific, but like that'll be a special occasion. But I'm excited, guys.
All right,
see you tomorrow night.
Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for allowing this fun little I don't know.
It's been a time. It's been a soiree.
We went way off course, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I don't. Shira is very fresh to me. Okay, like I am 34 years old, and it's the first time that I watched a piece of media that was like, you don't just have to eat crumbs, you can have a full ass meal. So I'm going through some feelings.
Yes, as you should. It's beautiful.
So anyway, hey, I've been Taylor Smurl.
Hey, I've been Liz June.
And this has been
Neat.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for watching and joining and everything. And bye.